Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. Oh, not Full Quota, sorry, geez. It's a cricket podcast. My name is Mpho and Tim. I've got Tim there with me. Tim, I took us back a little bit into the past. How are you doing?
Oh, good, man. All good, all good. Yeah, all good. Looking forward to seeing the Proteas and Whites next week, but all good.
Yes. That is the most important thing, and that is what our show is for today. It's us trying to talk about this important series for the Proteas men, as they defend their World Test Championship title. This is the first tour of this one. It's a lot tougher. They've got 3 away tours all on the subcontinent. The first one now starts with Pakistan that we're going to be talking about. We've got India a month after that, and then you've got Bangladesh, Sri Lanka later on next year. So it's not going to be good sledding. We're going to be talking about that. But before we do anything, remember, we're South Africa's #1 cricket podcast, your place where you can find all things related to South African cricket. And you can find us on X, formerly Twitter, at SA Cricket Pod. Everything's at the bottom there. You can subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel on YouTube, which is if you're watching live and you're new to this, please do click subscribe. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search for South African Cricket Podcast. And then also you can buy some coffee at SA Cricket Pod. At Buy Me a Coffee at /SA Cricket Pod. It helps us revamp. You saw the new little slide, the entry slide. We're going to be trying a few different ones, seeing which one sticks. We're just trying to revamp, revitalize ourselves, and change a little bit. And all that's been helpful. All we've done so far has been through the contributions that you have provided us on Buy Me a Coffee. At /sacricketpod.com. There is a QR code that I should put up here. If you want to do that, it'll be on there all show long. There's also a QR code for our YouTube people in the corners. This is for the one in the top corner is mostly for our X people. The one in the bottom corner is for our YouTube listeners and viewers, just for you to be able to contribute. There's also a link in the notes on all platforms. So there's a link to that in the notes on all platforms. And also, finally, another thing, if you want to send us an email, please do so at sacricketpod@gmail.com. We love hearing from you, and we really do enjoy, and we try to respond as much as possible, even to the comments on YouTube. So please do that. We love engaging with you. And yeah, tips and ways for us to improve ourselves as we enter into this new chapter as the South African Cricket Pod. And yeah, it's really, really exciting for us this side. Tim, we should talk about the Proteas women and essentially what a bounce back game they had against New Zealand, because I left Monday's pod knowing that they were in the middle of this game against New Zealand, and they most likely would win it because they actually bowled really well in that first innings. And I kind of felt like maybe we were a little negative, and maybe we were, a little hurt. And it's okay to be negative. It's okay to be hurt because we care. And I'd hate to say that we don't care, but we do. We really, really, really do. And I'd like to applaud the ladies on an immense win against New Zealand. We did say in order for you to get through this tournament, you needed to beat everyone else that isn't India, England, and Australia. They're currently playing India now. It's 7 overs in. India batting first. We put them into bat. I'll talk about that. And it's 36 without loss to India right now. 7 overs in. We got a wicket off a no ball. Was an LBW shot, all 3 reds, and yeah, it was a no ball off of Marizan. It's the little things, and that's my point about that game against New Zealand. They took care of the little things. Yes, they didn't start off well with the ball. There was a point where it looked like New Zealand were going to run away with. Sophie Devine looked divine, and she looked like she was going to take it away from us. And then you enter Nkululeko Mlaba, who I think is arguably the best bowler in this tournament for South Africa. And she took that forfeit to kind of start that New Zealand collapse, and everyone worked around them, and we just needed 220. From a batting perspective, after 69 all out, That's the response you wanted, Tim. You wanted Tasman, you wanted Laura, you wanted everyone to step through, and it was Tasman and Sune. I know I say I'm not the biggest fan of Sune, but I'll tell you this. It's taken her like 10 matches to score this 50 since her last 50. And it's now before that previous 50, it took her another 20 innings to get there, which is another 20 matches. So there is a situation where we would like more consistency out of that middle order. We're getting more consistency from Tasman and Laura and Marzan, but everyone else needed to step up. Sune said, you don't need to look to anyone else. I'm your girl for this match. And she helped Tasman get there. And I love how Tasman is scoring runs at a strike rate over 100, and she's just dominating another world record. I think she scored 500s in this year alone. She's just unbelievable and unplayable right now. And as we said, for you to win this World Cup, Tasman, Laura, or Marzan need to be in the top players in this tournament. And Tasman's putting her hand up. We just need a few more of our stars to step up. And we're there, Tim. We will get to the semi-final and we'll figure out what we need to do from there.
I think that this match against New Zealand was vital for so many reasons. Because, as you rightly pointed out, Australia, England, and India are there. They're in the semi-final. Barring an absolute miracle win, which might have happened yesterday, but I never really thought it was going to happen. I never really felt Australia were going to lose yesterday, despite the situation that they were in, because they bat so far down. They really do. So those three are three, as far as I'm concerned. We had to win yesterday. It didn't matter how or when we played. It didn't matter how we won. We had to win. And that was the most important thing, was to get the win. The manner of the win, in terms of the batting, in terms of the way they went about it, they went to score runs. They didn't allow New Zealand to put pressure on them. That was hugely impressive. They said to New Zealand, you're going to have to bowl us out. We are not going to crawl and take it to the last 2 or 3 overs. We're not going to do that. We're not going to put pressure on ourselves. We're going to put pressure on you. That is what got us the win yesterday. Coupled with the exceptional catching. The catching in that game, we did mention it at the halfway mark in the last podcast. The catching was exceptional. Hugely important. Tasman also said she's going to score, her goal is to score 300s in this World Cup. That's 1 down, 2 to go for her. So all green ticks, all positives. It doesn't matter that we lose today, if we do happen to lose today, because as we said, it is India, but we want it to be close. We don't want net run rate to play a part again. So get as close to India as you can, and if you get the win, that's a massive bonus.
And to a certain extent, my thing is this when it comes to games like this. I know we said that if you're playing Australia, England, and India, it's a free hit. You can lose those games, but we want you to give it your best effort. And in those games, those are the games where you have to take care of the little things, right? You have to try and be a little bit more buttoned up, because that's the level that you're going to get and in the semifinals. You use it as a mini semifinal preparation. If you end up winning that game, well done. That's a bonus. That's a plus. That sets you apart from everyone else who's probably going to lose to them, right? Who are fighting for that 4th semi-final spot, right? And I know you've beaten New Zealand. We can't rest on our laurels now. We actually have to do it. And so they are really, really, up against it right now, 46 without loss. But you got to bring it back. And my thing is, lefty has to bowl earlier. You have to bowl left. The moment that power play ends, you throw a ball to lefty and see what she can find and see what she can do. Don't hold her back like you did before. It's going to be interesting to see how Dumi bowls, because they've taken Dumi out. They brought Dumi in for Masabata class. I'm just interested at the speeds that she's going to bowl at. She's very accurate, she's very straight, so she should work on these wickets, Tim. I'm just worried that it feels like more like net bowling than actual international level pace bowling. Because if I look at Marizan and I has about 105 upwards in terms of speed. Marazan's hitting 110, 111 consistently. We need people who can be hitting those speeds up and being accurate. And I think Dumi's hanging around the hundreds. And for me, yes, it works on the subcontinent. I'm not sure it's going to work today against India, but we shall see. But so far, look, 100 overs is a long time, Tim, and we've got that batting power on our side. The question is, middle order, are you going to come through? I trust Tasman. I trust Laura. I trust Marizan. Everyone else in that middle order needs to kind of show us that we can trust them, right? And I think for me, that is important for us going in this tournament. My worry is how we play spin against Bangladesh, against Pakistan, and against Sri Lanka. You saw what Pakistan did to Australia, right? They had them 7 for 78, right? Those are the things I'm more worried about, because I feel like we are a lot more pace heavy and we're used to getting pace bowled to us and not necessarily spin and different variations of spin and working through that. But the only thing about that difference between that 69 and here is that two people applied themselves properly to playing spin. It was Sune, it was Tasman. They were getting to the pitch of the ball, they were playing late. And so the question is, can everyone else do the same? But yeah, Tim, if you have any other things, I think let's leave it right there.
So we can go to leave it right there and just say good luck for the rest of today's game.
Yes, and when you watch this today, you'll probably know how this game ended. So we're hoping for a Proteas win. But yeah, either way, free hit. Don't panic. The next set of games that they have are what we want to play. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Those games are crucial. Anyway, let's move over. We've got a men's tour. The World Test Champions finally get to play Test cricket. They get to defend their crown. And it starts with Pakistan, right? It's the first of 3 away series in the cycle. We also go to Sri Lanka in the cycle. We go to India next after this, away from home. And then we've got England, Australia, and I don't know who else we have at home. West Indies at home to round it out from a test format perspective. So there's a massive chance we make it back to Lords, but this is how you do it. I'm going to lay the lay of the land. You need to make sure that Sri Lanka tour and the Pakistan tour that we're going to be talking about right now, you do not lose. A draw is still fine. Why? It's 50% of the available points that you can get. So you get a 50% there. You don't want to be losing the test series because it goes up against you, largely because other teams will have very strong home records. The other way you do it, and largely because you're also facing England, and Tim thinks England can beat us. I don't think so. And Australia at home, it's still going to be 50-50, but you got to put your best foot forward. And the way you do that is you draw your games at home, away from home, and you win the ones at home. You have to win the series against Australia and England next year in order for you to be able to get back to Lords in 2027. But this is the start. So let's focus on the start. Let's start with the big news is that obviously Temba Bavuma is not in the team. And Temba was one of our top 2 it was a number 1 batter in the last cycle. He's captain of the side. Is this the time for others to step up, and who's going to replace him? Obviously know that Aiden finished on a high in the last World Test Championship, and everybody else in that batting lineup contributed in a series away from home. We'll look at Cal Verreynne in Sri Lanka. We'll look at Tristan Stubbs in Sri Lanka, Vian Muldag at Sri Lanka, and also Pakistan here at home where he scored his runs. You also had Tony Dezorzi at the beginning of the year. Not Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, sorry. It was in Bangladesh. And they also had Tony Dezorzi at the beginning of the year last year when we played India. He put down some runs. And so the question for me is, when you look at this and you look at the team without Timber, and to a certain extent last cycle they didn't play with Timber for some games, and that, is this team comfortable to play without Timber right now? And also, is it as big a loss as we think it is, even though he was our best batter in the last cycle that ended up with us as champions?
Okay, so there are 2 ways of looking at it. 2 things can be right at the same time. Is he a massive loss? Absolutely, massively. But can we get something out of this, even though he is not there, and he's arguably our best player of spin? We definitely can. We know that the Pakistan are an inconsistent side. We know what we're going to get from them in terms of their pitches. We know, but Pakistan are not exactly a brilliant players of spin in this current crop either. So it's going to be a shootout on that front. I don't think we miss Timber's leadership as much as some people might suggest.
Okay.
What we miss is his incredible fighting ability. There are going to be times, absolutely not, there are going to be times that we are going to be in trouble from a batting point of view. These pitches are going to turn square. Unless the groundsmen have got it horribly wrong, every single reel or footage or quote you hear from coming out of Pakistan is these pitches are raging turners. They are going to turn, and they're going to turn from day one. It's going to be a real battle. Timber has an incredible ability to absorb that pressure. I'm not sure outside of that current crop who has that ability. We know we've got players that can get us out of trouble by taking the fight, i.e. getting down the wicket and doing reverse sweeps and playing attacking cricket. But absorption of pressure, that's something that this current crop at the moment does lack. So it is a loss, but we can definitely get something out of it regardless.
Yeah, just for those who are watching or those who are interested in the Proteas Women, lefty, it's like they listen to me. Lefty's bowling at over 11. So, yes, well done. Woo. Anyway, is on the point of the absorption of pressure and the ability to play long innings and the ability to kind of nullify the bowling attack, to kind of nullify the spinners. Because the thing that I've always found funny about Test cricket is pressure creation from a bowling perspective. Yes, on the subcontinent, yes, elsewhere in the world is with fast bowlers, but on the subcontinent is with spin bowlers. Every ball becomes an event. You effectively can't take a break. You can't take the rest, and the first wicket has fallen. Second ball of lefties over. Like, it's amazing. But anyway, you can't take, and it's kind of going to be contrary to what we've been trying to do as a team in terms of putting them under pressure, punching them in the face up front, and being a little bit more aggressive with the bat and trying to play, I wouldn't call it baseball, but some sort of a Timu version of baseball, a Sheehan version of baseball, a cheaper version of baseball where we'll be aggressive, but we're also just holding back. And my worry is the ability for this team to be able to rotate strike. Because the thing that Timber does really well is that he turns the strike over. And I look at the squad, and I think we'll talk about the squad. I know Zubair Hamza's there. Hamza's probably like the closest thing you get to Timber, that older version of player who was taught in that, that Graham Smith era of cricket where it was you bat a team into the ground by making sure that you do not lose your wicket, and in doing so, you rotate the strike. It's death by 1,000 cuts type of cricket, rather than necessarily, death by a few blows, right? It's the Floyd Mayweather type of boxing type of cricket where it's jab, defense, move along, make sure you don't get hit, and you just keep on jabbing away, getting those points like you're at the Olympics, and then at the end of the day, you're like, oh yeah, we won by a landslide because we just were beating them slowly into submission. And that's, I think, for me, as you rightly say, Tim, it's going to be what we want to, interesting to see, right? The Stubbsies of the world, the Vian Mulders of the world, the Aiden Markrams of the world, to kind of take away that cover drive a little bit and just like let them bowl to your legs and you just play down the leg side, or get to the pitch of the ball and look for gaps, or play as late as possible and try find, instead of just being flashy and on the front foot and doing all of that. I think there's also a big series for Tony DeZorzi at the top. I think Tony could actually set the tone for this team if he does get a chance to play, just to kind of give us a kind of like a backstop, someone who has that ability to just shut down shop, right? And just bat time and bat overs. And I know we want to still bat at a high strike rate, but if I look at Joe Root and how he attacks innings in a baseball era, that's the type of template I'm looking for, right? Joe takes away all the dismissals, and then he then starts beating you in other ways, right? Once he's taken away the bold and whatever dismissal is high risk, he then starts figuring out his game. And I know Joe Root's a lot more talented than most of the team here, but they can do this, right? And so for me, that's the one thing that I'm looking at, because I think that's where we win the series, right? Is with the bat. I think with the ball, we've got some people. But before we do anything, let's look at the squad. Let's let you guys know, because we were talking about people in the squad, and I'm like, we haven't put the squad up. Here it is, right? The 15 guys going to Pakistan is Aiden Markham, who's going to be captaining the side. We've got David Bedingham, who can play that role that Tim was talking about, like that absorption role. Corbin Bosch makes it in. Devil Brevis, Tony DeZorzi, Zubair Hamza, Simon Harmack. Keshav Maharaj is only going to join in the second test. He's currently getting back into fitness. He's playing for the Dolphins right now. Vian Mulder, number 3, as always. Senran Mutasami comes in. Gahisa Rabada, Ryan Rickleton, Tristan Stubbs, Brendan O'Brien, as well as Kyle Verena. So you've got a lot of questions here, and I looked, Tim, from a batting perspective, right? Obviously, I've been speaking about Tony DeZorzi. Ryan's not on form. What are you doing at the top of the order? Are you still keeping the faith in Ryan, or are you bringing in Tony? And I know Timber's not there, so is it a situation of maybe bringing Tony at 3 and having Ryan at 1 and 2 with Aiden, and bringing Tony at 3, or are you looking somewhere else at number 3, Tim?
I've said this many times over the months that we've discussed Tony. I'm not convinced on Tony in Test cricket. I'm convinced on Tony in the white ball stuff. I think he should be given a longer run there, and I'm very comfortable with him, particularly in the 50 over setup. I'm not convinced in him in the test setup. However, I'm not picking Ryan on current form. I'm not picking Ryan in the way that he's going at the moment, in that unless I'm seeing something completely different in the warm-ups that they've been doing before they left on their own rating turners, trying to make conditions as close to Pakistan as possible. Unless I'm seeing something completely different there, I'm not picking him. I'm saying to Ryan, you're going to start the series.
Okay.
It's a shame for him. So for me, I'm opening with Tony, but with the proviso that I need to see more from him in this format. It is, as you say, a very important series for him if he wants to be a regular in this format.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think look, but with Shukri, you'll always be surprised, but I think he's going to keep the faith in Ryan. I'm just hoping that Ryan can find the middle of his bat this time. It's going to be a massive test for our openers to kind of see off the new ball, and then also try and navigate their spinners to give us a foundation, right? It's going to be really important there for us to have a view to see that, because they're generally attacking players, and I think there is a place to attack and there is a place to play and adapt, and I think it's going to be interesting to see. Are you keeping Vian at 3? Are you looking elsewhere for 3, or are you just staying with what we've seen with Mr. 367 or whatever that number was? Because again, it's not a 400.
No. I think that he will keep him at 3. If I am the man, I'm not. I'm putting Tristan there at 3. I'm saying to Vian, you're not at number 3. You've done a fantastic job. It has worked in the short period. It has worked. But you know what? I actually want you to be down the order where you traditionally are. I see you as a batting all-rounder. I want you to bowl. Therefore, I want to take a little bit of that load off you.
So you're still holding on to this?
What?
Tim, we've moved on from Tristan at 3. We've moved on. Yes, he only played 2 matches at 3, but we've moved on. You know.
You asked me my opinion.
I know.
We're not going that way, but that's the way I'm going.
I know. But yeah, look, I'm keeping Vian at 3. I think Mr. 367 or whatever it was, let the legends keep the legends scores. Proved to me enough in that second innings against Australia at Lords, as well as that tour to Zimbabwe, that he has the ability in times when he was attacking the Zim bowlers, but there were moments even in that second test where the pitch was slow, the bowlers were on top, the spin bowlers were on top, and he had to navigate the pressure. And I think he navigated it expertly. The question we then asked him is number 4. I am putting my hand up for Tristan Stubbs. And the reason why, and I'll complete the 6, is it's Stubbs, Bedingham, Brevis. So I think Brevis starts in this team, and I'm not taking Zubair. I think, Dewald gives you the opportunity, if there is a mini collapse and you are batting with the low order, for him to kind of tee off, right? And you got to have someone like that who has the ability to be able to accelerate the run rate, and I'm willing to do that and give him that, largely because behind him, you've got, let me just check if Marco Janssen. Marco is not there, so it's Corbin. So behind him, you've got Corbin and Sen, who are also very good batters, who can complement him and supplement him and give you runs. We battle a little bit deep in this series to about 8 now, largely because I know Sen is starting and I know Corbin will play.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to. I know this is very bad podcasting. I'm just trying to double check the squad, because that squad was taken from CSA YouTube channel, Facebook channel. But
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I saw Marco Janssen.
Yeah, he's there. Sure. Sorry. Yeah, he is.
He is there. Yeah, he is there.
Are we reading correctly? Come on, CSA. Come on. Okay. Anyway.
He's not there,
yeah.
But he is in the squad.
Yes, squad. This is a lesson in double checking. Yeah. Anyway. And so for me, I think even with Marco, Corbin or Marco, I'm comfortable with having Brevis, and then I think there should be an allowance for him to be in there in that 6. Then it's just a question of, I hate doing this to Tristan Stubbs, but effectively, he literally is fighting for that number 5 spot with David Bedingham at this point in time. And it's an opportunity for the both of them to figure out who's going to be number 5 against India, because Timber's coming back. And I like this whole thing in living color for them to be able to, for us to be able to see who's got the opportunity. Do you go with Stubbs and Bedingham 4 and 5, or are you bringing in Zubair?
No, Stubbs and Bedingham. I don't mind who bats 4 and 5. It matters to me who's batting at 3, but who's batting at 4 and 5. It doesn't bother me. But I am picking those 2. Interestingly, I'm also picking Janssen, but I'm picking Janssen over Corbin. Again, I was persuaded. So before we did this podcast, I listened to a Pakistan preview. And they said that channel, that left arm channel, Pakistan batters won't like it. The ball coming back into the right-hander, they won't enjoy it if he plays. And I was persuaded. I said, you know what, Corpse, I get you. You've been fantastic. But I was persuaded to pick Janssen, as well as the fact that I'm picking 2 spinners. So, it's very harsh at Corpse, and I think it could go either way. I do genuinely think it could go either way. If I'm thinking in Shukri's mind, Shukri's probably going to go with Corpse because, as we said before, he gives people a long run. He trusts these players, and he gives them an extended run. There are one or two that you could argue that, you know what, we could go in a different direction. He's always going to go with tried and tested that little bit longer than you would think. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting Corbyn doesn't deserve it. He absolutely does deserve it. I'm just going conditions based. What I heard in terms of lift up channel, different angle. So it's
so look in the presser when he was asked about why he left Lungi out of the squad, he just felt that there's not going to be a lot of opportunities for the fast bowlers in this series to bowl and effectively be effective, and he was thinking of going in with 2 out and out seamers and then the rest being spinners, right? So you've got and this is how I have looked at this, the back end of this 11, right? It's Marco and Kagiso as your 2 out and out seamers for me. I don't mind if Corbin Bosch comes in there, but then for Marco, and then the others are your 3 spinners, and all of them are playing. So it's Sen as a all rounder, but I go Pren and Simon. And then in the second test, depending on which off spinner has done well, the other one who didn't do well comes out, and your left arm spinner in Keshav comes in for that test in Rawalpindi, right? So that's how I see it. I think that's because then you also got cover because Vian is your third seamer, right? And Mr. 367 comes in and does the job. And so I think it's a much better balanced attack. And then you also have break in case of emergency, like literally emergency. Devo Brevis is off spin, the leg spin, and I think it's been a great opportunity for him to bowl a couple of overs and see what we get. And then on top of that, obviously Aiden Markham, that's breaking. So you've got 8 bowling options, 6 out and out. Guys, you can do it. And then you've got 2 more. So Aiden has enough bowling resources to take 20 wickets. And the way I see it is the greatest spinner alive in the 2010s to the 2020 era, Simon Harmer, is about to put on a show, Tim. A show. An incredible show right now there in Pakistan. What say you?
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I know we do sort of say it and just the greatest spinner ever. But I mean,
but he was in that decade. Only Nathan Lyon was better than him. But Nathan Lyon didn't take on the toughness that was county cricket. He was afraid to come to England and ply his trade against the Simon Harmer, right? When Simon was taking wickets in buckets, I tell you.
I hope so. I hope that he actually did make a point, and I actually hadn't realised that because his test record is actually pretty good, generally speaking. It's a small sample, but it is pretty good. But in that sample, he doesn't have a fifer. I genuinely thought he had a test fifer. He's got quite a few fourfers, but he hasn't got a fifer. So I was quite surprised by that. In conditions wise, everybody says he's gonna have conditions there to get a fifer. So it's all there for him.
He better hope Kagiso and Marco don't take wickets away from him, because that's the problem with South Africa, right? If you do get a fifer, everyone else had a bad day or a bad innings, right? And I remember I looked to the recent Bangladesh series when everyone else went to the IPL and it was Simon and Keshav in KZN, in Durban and in PE, and they literally shared of the 40 wickets, I think 35 or 30 to 35 of the wickets, and they just dismantled Bangladesh by themselves in like 3 days. We know that Kesh is better. We know that. And it's going to be interesting to see if in this test he doesn't step up as the senior bowler, as the better bowler out of the three that we have, to take all those wickets and take them in a clump. But I'm not worried about the fifer. I think the fourfers are fine. My thing is the quality of off spin. And I know that we were looking at Pren the entire time. I feel bad for Pren, because to have this man come to Pakistan and play games next to you, it's going to be very interesting to see how Pren does that. And if Pren comes out as the better spinner here, look, then we're cooking with gas. Then we know who we're taking to India. Then we know what we're doing. But it's a really interesting opportunity. And guys like Simon will take these things. Like even that Bangladesh series, when he was out in the wilderness and he came back and he took those wickets, same thing. And so it's an interesting one. And one of the other things that I found very fascinating is that he didn't go to Dane Pete anymore. That was for me something quite telling, because I thought Dane Pete would have come in, because again, when we went to New Zealand, Simon didn't go, Dane did. And so that for me was the thing. It was like, okay, so clearly I think we're moving in a different direction slightly, and we're trying to see everyone else. And we always know Coach Shukri backs players, but this is one of the moments where he gave him a chance, and Dane Pete played a couple of, toured a little bit afterwards with the team. And then now we've moved into a new era where he's seeing Simon for the next 2 years, and probably even Pren. And I think the Pren idea was obviously because of the arm action and everything else, but that's cleared now. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes the clump of wickets. And heaven help me if it's Senaran, because if it's Mutusami, then that's another conundrum we have. But the one thing I'm hoping for from Sen is runs. Sen on the subcontinent, he's that player who can absorb the pressure, who can give you a nifty 50 half century that you kind of were looking for from a Keshav. But Kesh, obviously from the batting perspective, I'm not going to bemoan the man. He's really, really good with the ball. And so that's where I'm at with this bowling lineup. There's a lot of, and this is my worry about the series is there's healthy. It's competition, and competition is always healthy. Well, not always, but I'm just trying to figure out if it doesn't affect the players in a negative way. For instance, right? Tristan knows that he's probably the next man out. He's out in the wilderness in the ODI side. Yes, he's in the squad, and in the T20 squad, it's 50-50. And now it might be becoming 50-50 in the test squad, right? David Bedingham as well. Is it last chance saloon for him? Does he not? Because the thing is, if you're not playing, starting in that India series, it's going to be tough when we come around in 2026 and we've got Australia and we've got England, because all I know about this batting lineup is they bully people at home. In South Africa, they bully people. And so you want to be in with a starting seat when you come around into 2026. And it starts here. Really, really does. So too from a bowling perspective, right? Kesh is getting a little bit old and a lot more injuries coming through. And you need to, set yourself up to be that second spinner behind him in case he's not there. And you got to keep that quality up. And the question is, how do they handle that pressure of watching? Because it's going to be interesting. If someone takes a clump of wickets, how does the other one react, right? But I believe that they have a really strong team environment to kind of, be happy for everyone and to kind of push through, because, that's what I'm seeing here. There's a lot of questions in like some small spots in the team where you're like, actually, we need to solidify this because it makes us a better side. And competition for us outside of the team is important. I just don't know how they're going to handle it there in probably one of the toughest places to bat in the world.
It's gonna be a challenge. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's gonna be a challenge. And look, all this chat about 4-day test matches. If either test match goes into sort of T on day 4, I'd be very surprised. Everything that I've read and seen is it's gonna be low scoring. So it's gonna be interesting to see how both teams go about it. They might have, in those conditions, they might have the better spinners, but we still have enormous firepower and huge experience. I mean, that experience that maybe not in Pakistan, but the experience that Harmer and Prevalent have as professional cricketers, they've had plenty of hardship. Their hardship might not have been flat wickets in Pakistan, but they have had plenty of hardship in their careers. They will know exactly how to challenge, how to balance that situation, how to cope with that situation when things are not going their way. We're not taking young 22-year-olds who are just coming through the system and trying them out. We're trying out guys that have been around a long, long time.
Yeah, and that's what we need to kind of hold our head around. And I think that's what I like about this team, right? Brevis being the youngster in the side, everyone else going closer to 30 in this format of the game makes a lot of sense for me, and it's where you want to be. And I feel like we're in a sweet spot with this test side to dominate for this cycle. The last cycle we won, this 27 cycle, and the 29 cycle, where you're bringing the likes of the Luandres, you're bringing the likes of Devalt into a much more leadership role and a much more solidified role, with the likes of the Vian Mulders taking more captaincy roles, and Aiden and them leading themselves into their early 30s, leading us into their early 30s to kind of win. And we're in that window, and in this window, I'm happy with where we are, because we're going to Pakistan with question marks effectively around 2 spots. All the other question marks are around 4. Right? We've built a squad where we can chop and change based on different conditions. This time, Corbin obviously doesn't make our sides or won't play. But when we go home, he's there. He's fighting for a spot. And obviously Sen understands that in South Africa he's not going to play, but he's going to play in India and Pakistan. And I'm happy with where the squad is. It's just, and I like the fact that when you bring people in, you give them that opportunity to shine, like we did with Corbin. And I hope for for Pren, as well as Simon, they give us a show. They put on a show, and they remind us of their greatness, because that's how we build a squad. You have like a squad of 20 guys, they know where they stand, they know where you can pick them up, and they understand that even if injuries happen, I'm the next man up. And that for me is really, really important. And yeah, I'm excited. I really do think, I know the last series in 2021, where it was the first time in like 15 years or 14 years that we went to Pakistan and we lost both tests. I think this time will be very different, Tim. I really, really do think so. And I know Pakistan have come out with Hassan Ali. They've come out with Shaheen Shah Afridi. Baba Azam still there. They've brought back Imam Ul-Haq. Then they've gone with the spinners that are supposed to scare us. Sajid Khan, Noman Ali. I'm a fan of Noman Ali. It's a very different. Salman Ali Aga is an interesting all-rounder middle order batter and bowler. So
they've got 5 spinning options. So we know what they're coming with. We're coming with Shah Afridi and 5 spinners. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
We might do the same. We could do the same, right? And that's the beauty of it all. You could go Kagiso and Vian, and then you go every spinner we can find, which is the 3 spinners we have, and then go with an extra batter, bring in a Zubair Hamza in there, and that's what you could go with, Tim. Like, that's the other option, right? It's KG, it's Vian, and then it's Sen, Pren, and Simon, and then you have Zubair Hamza coming in at 4. And then Stubbs at 5, Bedingham at 6, Brevis at 7. If it's a road. And then speaking of spinners, lefty just took a second wicket. It's not looking good on that other side, but the best bowler in South Africa taking her 6th wicket in this tournament. She got Harleen Dior for 13. It's 83 for 2 after 17 overs. Just for you to timestamp this, right? We're watching cricket while we're doing this. It's really, 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 really awesome. But left arm spinners, yes. But yeah, I would do that. Are you comfortable with Vian, Kagiso, and the 3 spinners?
I've got to be honest. I'm not sure. I would still prefer if we went with an extra pace bowler. I just like that a little bit of comfort. But it as you say, if literally you can see on day one when you go down to the pitch and you look at it and you can know that this is a proper dust bowl. Yes, playing the extra pace bowler would be less sensible. It wouldn't necessarily make sense. I still think we will go with that second out and out pacer with the three spinners. I think that's the way we will go. But it is possible. You're absolutely right. It is very possible that Fian could open the bowling with Rabada. It is possible.
And he gets swing with that new ball. With that red cherry, he can get some swing, and he's opened the bowling for the Lions before. So it's not like it's foreign to him. It's just would add a lot of work to him as our number 3. So that would obviously work to you saying drop him down the order, and possibly go Stubbs at 3, Hamza 4, and then you have like Vian probably coming in and around, depending on how you feel about Devil Brevis there, that 6-7 axis. But that's the other side. The another thing I want to know, before we go on the Marco Jansen and Corbin Bosch thing is, Corbin's the fitter one right now.
Yeah.
Do you, knowing that should Pakistan, bat us into the ground, you might actually bowl Marco into the ground because, of the way in which those pitches react in Pakistan, and the sun and the heat and the toil and all of that. Is Corbin not a better option for you to start this test series and then maybe bring him in for that second one to be like, it's just one game. We're trying to keep you match fit because we'll need you in India.
Yeah, spot on. You probably, and to be fair, I think Shukri might think along those lines anyway. So if Corbin will probably play the first test, even though what I've said is makes sense. That extra different channel, the different angles that Marco brings. Guys are going to struggle in these conditions, whether they are fit or they've got sort of recent histories of slight niggles. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. They're going to be sweating a lot. Who do you want to give their body on the line and has done it in recent times? Corbin.
It's the warrior.
Corbin is the guy. Corbin is the warrior. Corbin is the guy you bowl on a flat pitch that does absolutely nothing in 45-degree heat, in 80% humidity. Corbin is the guy you go to. It's not Marco.
No, it's not. It's not. And that's the interesting thing about what we're gonna get on the 12th on Monday. As we see what actually comes out there and what comes out of the team is, don't be surprised if Corbin actually opens the bowling with Kagiso. And both of them are probably our 2 fittest bowlers. And Kagiso's proven it over a decade playing for the Proteas. He has been unshaken and unwavering in injury avoidance and injury management, right? Whereas Marco has struggled a little bit, especially in humid climates. We'll look at that last World Cup in America, the T20 World Cup, where after that World Cup, he went straight into strength and conditioning because he had a couple of niggles, right? And we're not saying guys don't have niggles, but what we're saying is it's a test of fitness, similar to why Keshav is being left at home, right? To play for the Dolphins, and build up the fitness and then go that side. And we're entering a realm where injuries are going to matter. It's like an Arsenal situation where you just need to build up that squad. And this is that series where we test our depth. We test our depth in the batting in terms of the rest of the core that was in the 2025 World Test Championship cycle, and potentially Devil Brevis as well as Zubair Hamza, maybe even Tony. Tony could play. And then on top of that, we're testing our spinning depth here, right? We seldom play on the subcontinent. We probably play once every 4 years. And we've got 3 series in the subcontinent away from home. These guys need to put their hands up. This is where we test how really good our depth is. And I think Shukri's done an incredible job at picking the side and putting our best foot forward. Tim, as I always say, arrive in the morning. It's a bit of a road. Win the toss, bat first.
Yeah. Fight foot forward. Win the toss, bat first. Get as many runs as you can. Put the pressure. This Pakistan side doesn't like pressure. So whenever the situation says, gives you caution, go with it. Go with the attacking option. This Pakistan side does not respond well to pressure. If we go out there and say, you know what, it's going to be a Reggie Turner on day 1, so what? It's going to be a Reggie Turner on day 3. We don't really care. We're going to go out there. We're going to make 250. Because I don't see this. It's not going to be like that series where they played against England where there was massive scores. I just don't see that. Don't see that at all. It's 250.
And also, there's also no continuity in this Pakistan side. Pakistan's always been in turmoil. There's always something, And Imam ul Haq is back. He's just like, Oaks, what's going on here? And so, it's gonna be interesting to see how we get through. But this is the series we actually can win. I am so excited for the series. I think we can, get a 1-0 lead, go to the next test, go to Rawalpindi, and is it Lahore? Yes, I think it's just getting a check here for the matches. This is Lahore, 1-0 win in Lahore. Go to Rawalpindi, set out your stall, and walk away with the draw. And you didn't lose a game, and you take all the World Test Championship points home. This is where we actually get ourselves to Lords. If we do the good things right in this series, that India series is not going to matter. You don't want to go to India needing a win of any game to kind of keep you in the hunt. This is where it has. You cannot lose 2-0. You cannot lose 1-0. You can get like a draw point, but you can't. You have to try and win this first test. It's just really, really important for the World Test Championship. Yes, the great thing of all that is that we finished a lot of tests at home. We've got England at home next year, and I definitely think we can take them to the cleaners. What we need to do is to start well. It's really, really important in starting well. We don't want that Proteas team on day 1 of a test. You have them 300 for nothing, and you're like, oh, snap. Then you wake up on day 2, and then you try to fight your way back into a game, but the game's already gone. You can't win the World Test Championship in the first game, but you can lose it. So please, 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 we kind of need this. We kind of need everyone switched on, everyone good. I know we've been playing limited overs cricket. That needs to change. We're back at it. And we need guys to find form. Guys find form, we're there. We're there. This team can back teams into a hole. And all we need is about 350, Tim. That's a good first inning score in Pakistan, especially with the bowling attack you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm strangely optimistic about the series, even with the inexperience of players that have gone to Pakistan in particular. We have to get something out of this. We have to. We absolutely have to, actually. We have to get something out of this, whether it's a draw or it's as you say, a sneaky 1-0 win by putting pressure in the first test. We've got it. Wherever it comes from, whether it's the spinners or Ada makes another 100 like he did at the last tour. This is the time, as you say.
Yeah.
Play like champions.
You have to. And they know they're afraid of us. They're afraid of Kagiso. They're afraid of Marco and Corbin. And they don't know Marco and Corbin. So they don't know Corbin, so we'll surprise them with Corbin. And also Simon Harmer, Pren, and Sen. Sen probably was at the last tour, but those 3 new prospects, they do not know what they're gonna essentially face. They can see with videos and stuff like that. But that's, I think, for us a little bit of a feather in our cap, because I think they're going to be surprised as to the quality of spin bowling that we're going to bring to Pakistan. Gone are the days where we bring not so quality spin bowling. Gone are the days we brought the Paul Harrises of the world and all of that. This is a very strong spin attack, and it gets even better when Kesh arrives in a week's time. And that is a game changer for us all. That unlocks 2-0, essentially. That's what he does. And so, look, I'm just going to show the fixtures of this week if you guys are still watching. As another wicket has fallen, Dumi Sukukune gets a wicket with what I would call a very slow ball, 75 kilometers per hour. Oh my word. And yeah, gets Pratika Rao out. South Africa back in this. Anyway, we've got 4-day series games currently going on. The Lions and the Dolphins are playing in Durban. And obviously today started the Inyati and Northern Cape Heat in East London. And obviously we're playing India today, and we in Vizag, the Proteas Women. And then on Monday, the men's team starts at 12 in the morning against Pakistan at 7 a.m. South African time in Lahore. It's on Sunday, sorry, not on Monday. And so next week when we do our Monday show, we'll be mid-test as we do the review of everything else and also talk about that first day of that test and where we think it's going to go and what it is. So expect us there. But outside of that, please do subscribe to our follow us on X. That's where you'll get all our updates. We're providing updates on all the matches that are happening in South African cricket right now, the ones that we've just put up, as well as team news for the test match and any updates on that going forward. So do follow us there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for the live shows and all of that beautiful stuff, and share as widely as possible. And also we're also live on audio at Apple Podcast and Spotify. And also you can buy some coffee to help support the cause of the South African Cricket Pod. Let us go as far and wide to the diaspora of South Africans and many more in South Africa, just to give you a view. We're just giving you a view. It's not the right view. It's not the wrong view. It's a view of what we think is happening in South African cricket. We're in a good time in South African cricket, and we feel like we should be celebrating and be sending it out wide and talking about it in that. And then lastly, please do send your emails to sacricketpod@gmail.com. If you want to talk to us, if you want to help us with the intro slide, if you want to talk to us about anything else, if I'm being too harsh on the women's team, if, I'm being, say it. And let's have a chat. Let's have the conversation. But lastly, good luck to the Proteas women. We want another win here. If we can, just bring it back against India. Also, good luck to the Proteas men on Sunday. Give them hell. Show them why we're champions. For myself and Tim, it's goodbye and lesale kakafiso.